Good morning, good morning. Today I want to say you can copy my style, but you can't copy my spirit. And the reason why you can't copy my spirit is because God put that spirit inside of me and it cannot be duplicated. There's only one Anitra, there's only one you. There's only one fingerprint that belongs to each individual, and God did that by design. So you can copy someone's style, but you can't copy their spirit because their spirit can't be duplicated. Their spirit can be matched. And also, you may put together an outfit just as I would put it together, but you still can't copy what's inside of me because what's inside of me cannot be matched. What's inside of me is in me, is not on me. So that's why you don't need to try and duplicate someone else blueprint or fingerprint because you can't. The spirit that lives within someone is not to be duplicated. It may be tried. People may try to imitate it, but it will never be duplicated. So that is what you have to understand. That is what I have to understand. You may uh admire someone, you may like the way they dress, you may like the way their house looks, you may like the car they drive, but ultimately you cannot copy the person because that person has a spirit that lives within them just as well as you do. You have your own fingerprint, your own blueprint, and like I said, God did that by design. That way none of us can be exactly the same. He didn't want to build a bunch of robots, a bunch of clones. He wanted all us to have our own individuality. And that is what we should understand. We should never seek to duplicate someone. We can admire them. We can even tweak some of the things that they have already done. We can tweak it to our liking, but we should never want to, excuse me, we should never want to ultimately duplicate someone because that is a form of jealousy as well. That is a form of envy because you're like, and it's also a form of insecurity because you're disregarding what God put inside of you and you're looking into what someone else has. And what they have is the light of God. God put that light in them and it cannot be dimmed. It cannot be put out because the light within them shines so bright. And you may have more than that person. Someone may have more than you, and they still would try to be jealous and envious of you. Is because of their own insecurities. Is because of what's going on inside their brain, what's going on inside their mental, that they need to check and get resolved and need to get healing from. Because if you know God, you know that he don't make no mistakes. And you know that whatever he put inside of you, you would know that whatever he put inside of you is enough. There's no need to compare. There's no need to copy. There's no need to duplicate what someone else brings to the table. You just have to look inside yourself and look inside of your bag and see what you're working with and work that thing. Work that thing as God gave it to you. Because when you disregard what he put in you, that's a slap in God's face. It's like telling him what he gave you is not enough. And we know that God a gift from God is a perfect gift. Every good and perfect gift comes from God. And so that's why we know we don't have to disregard what we got going on. We have to look within ourselves and pull out the gifts and talents that God have for us. And all we have to do is tweak what he gave us. If you don't like exactly the way it look, you can always tweak it. You can work on it. If you don't like your body, you can work on your body. If you don't like the way you look, you can change the way you look. I mean, you don't have to go through drastic changes by, getting plastic surgery, but you can definitely, but by all means, if that's what you want to do, you can do that as well. You can change your hair, you can change your clothes, but ultimately, do not change your spirit. Put what God put inside of us is unique. And we must use that to our ability because someone needs to see the real you. Someone don't need to, they got so and so already. They don't need to have another duplication of someone else. They need to have the raw, authentic version of you. And that is what people are going to be drawn to, the real you, not you imitating to be someone else, because that person is already taken. And if you take that person, then who's going to be you? So you should want to, when I say you, I mean us. We should want to operate in the gifts and talents in a way that God have given them to us. He has dispersed everyone. He did not leave nobody without a gift, at least one. Some of us are multi-gifted, and that's a blessing. We should be able to operate in our gifts and talents as he gave them to us, and then we could share them with the world. But ultimately, you should not want to duplicate what someone else have going on, because that's like the ultimate disrespect to God, because you're like, you don't regard what he gave you, you're disregarding what he gave you, and you're looking at what someone else has. Um, and ultimately, like, I've seen it in my own life. I've seen it in my own life so many times where people would duplicate exactly what I done. And then, I mean, they wouldn't even want to give you credit for what you done. First of all, they don't even acknowledge what you did, but then they'll go do the exact same thing that you have already accomplished. And that is a form of jealousy. That is a form of envy. That is a form of hate, disrespect, and also insecurity. So, just pray for those type of people, because they have not found their identity. They have to understand that what God has put in them is enough. They don't have to look to the left or the right, look at somebody else and copy what they got going on. They just have to tap into what God have put inside of them and use it and work it. And as I said before, by all means, we all, take little nuggets from each other. But your job is to take those nuggets from one another and tweak what God have put in you, not take the whole exact pie and duplicate it just as someone else has presented it. No, that's not gonna get you to your destiny, because people they pay a whole lot for an ugly copy than they will pay. I'm sorry, they pay a whole lot for an ugly original than they will pay for a copy, for an ugly copy. So you get paid more for being original. You could be an ugly original. It doesn't matter, because you're original. You're going to get paid more for that original than you will ever get paid for an ugly copy, for a duplication. So that's not what we're doing. We're not doing that this season. We are tapping into our own gifts and talents. We're reaching deep within ourselves, and we're pulling out the best that God has put inside of us. And ultimately, we're going to tweak and work what God has given us, and we're going to cultivate that thing. We're going to master it, and we're going to present it as God wants us to present it. Present our bodies as a living sacrifice, amongst holy amongst God, which is our reasonable service. So that is what we're going to do. We're not going to look to the left or the right, or look across the street at someone else's gift and think that what they have is more than what we have, and what we have is not enough. No, we're going to take what we have and work it. And that's how we're going to grow to ultimate levels, when we realize that what we have is enough. You don't need to duplicate nobody else. You don't need to be around people just to copy their style, because like I said, you can copy their style, but you cannot copy the spirit. Like someone posted before, that I could give you the whole recipe, but the sauce still ain't gonna be the same. The sauce ain't gonna be the same, babe. You may put it on, you may put that on, like they say in the world, but guess what? The sauce ain't gonna be the same. It ain't gonna be the same. And not to toot my own horn, or you toot your own horn, it's just the way God made us. Your light ain't gonna shine like my light, because our light ain't the same. We put here to do different tasks. We put here to do different things. So if you try to copy what I got going on, it ain't gonna come out right. And if I try to copy what you got going on, it ain't gonna work, because that's not what God put me here to do. That's not what God put you here to do. That's like, I might try to go, babysit some kids or whatever. I might try to open up a nursery like someone else. That ain't my calling, babe. That ain't my calling. Or somebody might try to get on a video and do what I'm doing, and then they flop, because that's not what God told them to do. So that's what we have to understand. We have to search within, because it always stems from what's inside. Once you pull out what's inside, when you sit with God, He gonna show you are. And as I said before, no devil in hell can't tell you who you are not. Once God show you who you are, no devil in hell can tell you who you are not. So that is what you're going to have to do. That is what I've done. Sit still, stand still, and see the salvation of the Lord. He's going to show you what you're working with. He's going to show you how to operate your gifts and talents. You got to just ask Him. Because any man lack wisdom, let him ask of God. Because God gives freely. He gives generously, upbraided. He will not withhold it. He's going to give it to you and let you know what you're working with. And once you know what you're working with, you don't have to be envious or jealous. You don't have to try to duplicate no one else, because you can't. Basically, you really can. You really cannot duplicate their spirit, because the spirit, we are spirit beings. We're just in this bodysuit, but we definitely are spiritual beings, and that is what we're here. And people, what comes from the heart reaches the heart. So people are going to be able to tell when you're being fake and phony, because it's not coming. It's not touching their heart. But when it comes from the heart, what comes from the heart, as I said before, it touches the heart. So if you operating in your God-given assignment, your God-given gift, people are going to be able to receive you more, because it's touching their heart. But if you try to copy someone else's spirit, they're not going to receive you because they can see through that. They can see the facade. They can see that it's fake and phony, and that don't reach people. You know, you got to tap into what God put inside of you, what God put inside of me, in order to be able to have an impact on people, because ultimately that is what's going to reach people, not you being a fake copy of someone else, duplicating someone else's gifts and talents. That's not going to work, because you cannot copy the spirit. The spirit is original. The spirit has been given by God, and no one can duplicate it. That's why no one have your same fingerprints. No one don't have the same blueprint of what God has put inside of you, because he did that by design, because he didn't want a bunch of clones and robots walking the earth. He wanted our individuality, to where what you have, like I said before, we all a body. You the head, I'm the foot. We all got to be attached to one body. So I need my hands. You need your foot. You need your head. Somebody else need their eyes. We all have to be tapped into one body, because we all are parts of the body. So if I'm missing a part of my body, then I'm dysfunction, then I'm disabled. I'm not operating at my full optimal potential. When I lose a limb, I'm not operating at my full potential. Could be disabled. It may make things harder. That's a good revelation. Thank you, Holy Spirit. Because when somebody loses their legs or their arms, they make them disabled. So meaning they can't operate the way they were originally. They can't operate in their full potential because they're disabled, and it may slow them down. Not to say they may not get it done, but it may slow them down. And that's a good revelation and a good indication of why you shouldn't try to copy someone else. Because when you're not operating your full potential, like you're not being a full hand that you were put here to be, then you are being disabled. You're not able to go faster and run quicker, because you're operating as the hand when you're supposed to be operating as the foot. So that is a clear indication that you are copying someone else's hand, when you should be working your foot the way you have been given to work your foot. So that is what I'm saying. We all have to operate and get in our own lane. I know people say that stay in your lane, but that's definitely true. There's definitely some truth to that, because not to shame anyone, but it's being real. You have to operate in your own lane and your own scope of your makeup. I can't sit here and say I'm one thing, and when God has designed me to be something else, because I'm not going to operate in my full potential when I go to be something that I am not. So I have to learn and understand what I am. And once I know, because when I say I am, that I am is powerful. That is my God-given right. God said, I am that I am. And Moses said, who should I say sent me? God said, I am that I am. So when you operate in that I am, you operate in your God-given ability, your God-given gift, your God-given talent. Because that I am is very powerful, because it states that I am that I am. So whatever God said I am, that is what I am. And so that's what I'm going to operate in. I am that I am. My God, that speaks for itself. That's a sermon all by itself. That needs no added to it. That needs to take away nothing from it, because I am is what it is. So that is what we need to understand. Once you operate in that, you don't have to walk around trying to duplicate nobody's spirit or duplicate nobody, because you can't duplicate their spirit, but you won't have to duplicate their clothes, their outfit, their identity, their house, their car, because it's not on them, is in them. So you're never going to be able to duplicate that. I don't care if you go get the same outfit. I don't care if you go get the same hairstyle. I don't care if you go get the same vehicle, or the same home, the same furniture, jewelry. It's never going to come off the same, because you're not operating in who God made you to be. You're operating as a phony, a fake. And God can't bless no fakes. God want to bless the real original you, not who you pretend to be. God want to bless who you are, not who you pretend to be. And you won't receive the full maximum potential of what God has for you when you duplicate and try and operate like someone else. And that is what I want to say on today. That is very, very, very powerful. So if you have been operating like that, please disregard. Please take that away, and please sit with God and ask him to show you you, so you don't have to walk around here and be looking like someone else, because that don't fit. That don't fit you, big. That ain't a good look. That's not a good look. And people could ultimately tell when you're not being yourself, because they can't even receive you. So you need to check that at the door. Check yourself before you wreck yourself. Find yourself all by yourself, because it's not a good look out here operating and trying to duplicate someone else's style, but you cannot duplicate their spirit. So even if you are trying to seek higher spiritual level, that's good. That's good because we press toward the mark of the prize of the high calling, as Paul said. And that is awesome. That's good that you want to elevate to the high, your highest height, your greatest potential. That is wonderful. But you have to do it in your own scope of your makeup. Ask God who you are, and you can maximize your lane. Maximize who God made you to be. So nothing's wrong with want to seek the highest level of your potential. That is awesome. That is what God wants us to do, because we grow day by day. We go from glory to glory. We go from glory to glory. God desire us to grow day by day. So that is good that you want to elevate to your highest being. But at the end of the day, you cannot duplicate someone else's style thinking that you're going to reach your maximum potential, because that's not who you were designed to be. You were designed to be a great original, not a ugly copy. So that's not cute when you want to, copy and envy and just duplicate someone else, because that's giving creepy. That's giving not cute. So that's giving very, very jealous and insecure. So we don't want that energy around us. So we gotta duplicate. We gotta stop trying to duplicate what someone else has, because the sauce ain't gonna taste the same, B. The sauce ain't gonna taste the same, because I'm gonna whip up a little more, extra oomph, because it's my lane. Just as well as when you operate in your lane, you're gonna be able to dominate in your lane, because guess what? Ain't no cars in your lane. Your lane is your lane, B. You hear me? When the people go to race the cars, they can't hop over in nobody else's lane. They gonna wreck. They gonna wreck. As I said before, check yourself before you wreck yourself. And I heard someone say this: when you trying to operate in a race car, you don't need to focus on a curb, because that's where you're gonna end up at. So you need to just focus on where that lane is taking you and keep your eyes on the road. You don't need to look to the left or the right, because if you do, you look over too far. Where you're trying not to go, that's where you're gonna end up. You're going to end up kicked to the curb, because you're trying to focus on that curb and you're not focused on your lane that God put you in. So that is a powerful revelation also. Thank you, Holy Spirit. So when we sitting here looking at so-and-so Joe Blow from around the corner, Mary Sue from around the corner across the street, then we are going to crash. We're going to crash and burn, big, because we're not keeping our eyes focused in our lane. We looking across the street. We looking at the curb. That's the curb. That represents the curb. When you're looking across the street at your neighbor or down the street at so-and-so, that represents the curb. You're not focusing on the lane that you're already in. So God put you in lane 5, big. Roll lane 5. You heard me? Keep on focusing on lane 5, because that's what's going to get you to the finish line without wrecking. Because I'm focusing on lane 5. I'm just going to glide all the bumps and bruises and the curves and twists and turns. I'm just going to keep on operating in lane 5, because that's where God have me at. So that is what we need to understand. Once you are able to stay in your lane, stay in the lane that God put you in, stand still and see the salvation of the Lord. And when God said, when we done all, we just gotta stand. So just stand and see the salvation of the Lord. After you done all, after you done did everything He told you to do, just stand and focus on the lane that He have given you. And that is what I want to say. Why you can copy my style, but you cannot duplicate my spirit. That is the word on today. Why you can copy my style, but you can't duplicate my spirit. Because my spirit was given to me by Jesus Christ alone. And I am not a clone. I am not a duplicate. I am original. So that's what you have to operate in, your originality. And that's the way you will receive. People will receive you, and you'll go from higher heights and greater depths in the Lord. So that is the word I have on today. Please like, share, and subscribe to at AHEARTJOHNSON, at AHEARTJOHNSON. And until next time, I see you guys on another video. And remember, do not be a beautiful copy. Instead, be a beautiful original. In Jesus' name, you guys be blessed. Until next time, have a fantastic day. And I'll see you on another video.